welcome to today's live programming session with Fro. So guys, today we're going to continue on the series of lectures we've been doing in Python programming for beginners. And so by now we've completed module 1, which has a whole series of exercises to really get us familiar with the Python programming language. Everything from setting up an environment, working with variables, working with numbers, working with strings, casting, and being able to take inputs from the users. So today, what we want to do is go through a live exercise to see how we can bring all the pieces of the puzzle together. And we're going to build a very basic app, which would be a currency converter. So let me actually write that on the screen. It's going to be called a currency converter. And what this would do is it's going to take different currencies, say US dollar, and it's going to convert that to, say, XAF, which is Central African francs. And then it's going to do the same. It's going to take, say, US dollars, and it's going to be able to convert that to, let's make this a little bit better. It's going to be able to convert that into Nigerian Naira. I hope I spelled that correctly. All right, so this is going to be the main exercise that we do, and we're going to go through this step by step. So every single step of the way, we're going to be going through how to create the variables, functions, working with numbers, working with strings, taking input from the user, so we can build together all the knowledge we've learned so far in the course to actually build something that we can hopefully use. So I'm very excited about this, guys. This is live. We're gonna be building this live, and part of the goal for this is to see how we can think through the problem, how we can debug if there are any issues, if I run into any issues, how we add comments to code, and just the whole 9 yards of being able to write an amazing Python program. So if you want to follow with me, you should be able to do that as well. So let's go back into my PyCharm environment. If you're following along, I hope we do have PyCharm. I've created a new folder in here for my GitHub, and this is called live session. So at the end of this, I am going to push whatever code we write into GitHub. So if you want to actually download it and work with it, that's totally fine. So let's start. So what's the goal? The goal here is, you have individuals that have to send money across the world. So you might be in the US, you have a certain amount of money in the US, say, $200, all right? And then you want to send that to a family, say back in some country in Central Africa, say Cameroon, for example, all right? That's my home country. And you need to take that $200 and then convert it to what the exchange or what the currency would be in the Cameroon, which is the XAF. All right, which is part of the Central African francs. All right, so can you ask for the money from the user, how much they want to send, and then do that conversion into francs? And then same thing for, say, Naira for Nigeria. All right, can we ask for, say, $200 and then have this Python program see how we can be able to convert that into Nigerian Naira? This would be very basic, but after we go through this exercise, you should be able to hopefully extend this to make it work for any other language or for any other currency. Let me zoom in here so we can actually see my screen. So we can make this work for any other currency that there is out there. All right, so if we're following along, we should be able to extend this so it works for any other currency that there is out there. Just bear with me. Today, gonna make sure that we're all set up for this. All right, so let's get started. What's the very first thing that we need to do? The way I like to get the code together is to really do it block by block. So let's just start. We're gonna print on the screen. Very simple print on the screen here. We're gonna say, welcome to world currency. We'll call it world currency converter. All right, so when the user runs this app, the first thing is gonna print on the screen to say, welcome to world currency converter. We are here to help you send money. All right, I'll just put EG, USD, XAF, and then we can say NGN, which stands for the Nigerian Naira. So these are the symbols for those currencies. All right, so very basic, very basic. If you go ahead and run this, no such file found in directory, no problem. So what we can simply do is just run it this way. Currency converter, run. So there you go. So now, very simple, nothing out of the ordinary, just a hello world. We've printed to the screen, welcome to World Currency Converter. We're here to help you send money, e.g. USD, XAF, and NGN. Now, what we're gonna do here is to ask for the user to tell us, are they trying to send from USD? So they'll have to tell us the source currency, and they have to tell us the destination. So if they're trying to go from US dollars to CFA, XAF, they have to tell us that. If they're trying to go from USD to Nigeria, they have to tell us that, because we need that information in order to proceed with the code. So let's go ahead and ask for that from the user. So the way we ask for input from the user, as we've seen before, is to say, let's call it the currency source. So that's a variable. I'm gonna give it input. All right, and it's gonna give a prompt. So we have to prompt for that input from the user. We say source currency. All right, and the user has to enter that. All right, let's just copy that, and then we're gonna ask for the destination, the currency targets. Let's just call it targets. All right, we'll call it target currency. So now we've asked for two inputs from the user. So the source will be, what do they have, and then the target is where they're trying to send it. So just for the sake of verifying, let's print all of this to the screen. Let's say source plus currency source plus, let's just print everything to the screen. Say target, and then we can say, let's just make that one and say plus currency target. All right, so now we're gonna ask for the source, we're gonna have the target, we're just gonna print it to the screen. We're not doing anything yet to it, right? We haven't done any conversion. So let's just go ahead, run this program, and see what happens. All right, so it's gonna say, welcome to World Currency Converter. We are here to help you send money, e.g. USD, XAF, NGN. All right, source currency, let's say USD. Okay, it's asked for target currency, let's say XAF. All right, and then it's just printed. Source is USD, target is XAF. I can format that a little bit better. All right, I can format that a little bit better. So, but at least we know what the user is trying to do. All right, so now we're gonna have to go in, take what the user has told us that they need to do, and then do something to it. All right, so this is gonna take us now into that idea of functions, right? So I can just try to do every calculation in here, but we have to now start separating our code and making it easy to handle. So what we do here is we're gonna define a function that will actually be able to convert the currency for us. So let me just go up here and I'll say def. All right, I'll say USD. I'll define a new function here, UXD to XAF. All right, and then now I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna ask for the user to tell us the amount of money that they want to send. So let's now work on this function. All right, so they'll say, how much do you want to send? All right, so we prompt for that from the user. All right, actually, let's not just print on the screen. Let's actually do that as an input. Call it send amount. All right, and then we make that as an input. So we're gonna take that input from the user. We're gonna say, how much do you want to send? The user is gonna give us an amount, and this is what the amount will be. All right, so we're asking for the amount from the user. Now, once the user gives us the amount, Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that amount. We know that in Python, once we do input, in the previous lectures we went through this, is the input always provides a string, and we cannot really do anything with strings. So if the input is giving us strings, we have to do something to it to convert that string. All right, so what we're gonna do is we can say, you know, calc amount. Let me just say calc amount. I'll just use that. So this is the amount that we're gonna be calculating. Let's keep it consistent, equals to, and then we're gonna convert what the user gave us, which is a string, and we're gonna convert that into a float. All right, so let's just print that to the screen and see all right, so calc amount. So still very, very basic. So if we run this, simple, welcome, source currency, XAF, target currency, that's not gonna work. Target currency, USD, there's nothing that's gonna happen. All right, I will just simply print it from the screen, and I'll tell you why, because we've defined a function, but we haven't yet called it. So before we go ahead and call this function, I want to do one more thing. All right, so this is the amount that the user is giving us, but if you imagine you're taking the US dollars, the amount of money, and we're trying to send to this target currency, we need to multiply it by the exchange rate. All right, let me check here to see what the current exchange rate is. So XAF, so I'm just looking for the exchange rate. So as of this, the exchange rate is 5.9534. All right, so if you have this amount is in US dollars, you have to multiply this by this to get that amount in francs, right? Because this is the exchange rate. $1 equals this, so we just have to multiply that. All right, so now this will give us our converted amount, and we need to tell the user that this is the exchange rate amount. All right, so let's actually print that on the screen so that the user can see it. So we're gonna print let's just let me think of something to write here. So let's say let's copy the send amount, the original send amount. All right, so send amount in USD, right? Because we're starting from US dollars. Send amount in USD is, then we have to say plus so it's basically is equals to that in XAF. All right, so what we're doing here is we're saying send amount in USD is this in XAF. All right, but if I print this, there'll be a problem because this calc amount is a float, so we're gonna have to convert this back into a string. All right, so we're gonna have to convert that back into a string so it can print nicely. All right, great. So now we have a function. We have a function here. So let's just recap. We print to the screen, we ask for the source currency, the target currency. All right, and then we've just defined the function. Now we have to link that function into the choice of the user. All right, so this is gonna take us into needing an if statement. So what we need to do here is to add an if statement. So we can say if the user tells us that the source currency equals USD, all right, then at that point we want to go ahead and then call the USD function. We want to go ahead and call this function. All right, we're gonna go ahead and call that function. All right, let me do one more thing. Let's just copy this really quick and create a different function. Here, let's say USD to NGN. So this would be going to Naira, NGN. Nigerian Naira. Okay, so let's put that Naira. I believe the exchange rate for Nigerian Naira is, let's look at that really quick. NGN. That exchange rate is, Nigeria is stronger against the US dollar. So the exchange rate for Nigerian Naira is 6362.50 as of making this, just searching on Google. All right. Now, guys, I know this is just a basic program. If we're really gonna do something more sophisticated, we should be able to call some API, some web service, and get all this data so it's more dynamic, and we're not hard coding this into our screen, into our code, and then we can make this more dynamic. All right, and maybe instead of having many functions, we can have one function and then just have conditions within that functions to check for the source language. But for now, we're just really going bare basic, just to show the concept, right? Just the fundamental concept of how to put everything together and actually make this program work. There is certainly room to make this way better. All right, so now we have a function that can take USD to XAF. We have a function that can take USD to NGN, so we can finish our if statement here. All right, so we can go now and say elif. All right, so let's do elif. And actually, we're not doing the source currency, we're doing the target currency. All right, so if the target currency here is XAF, then we want to call the XAF function. All right, if that target currency is NGN, all right, if the user told us that they wanted to send the money to NGN, to Nigeria, then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna call the NGN function. All right, so we're gonna call the NGN function. Else, right, we can simply print to the screen. Let's just print to the screen and say something like sorry, currency currently not supported, check back later. All right, so say currency currently not supported, check back later. Let me just make this more interesting. I like to make my code all fun, so let's say something like voila. Right, let's say voila, send amount in US dollars is this in XAF. Voila. Send amount in USD is that in NGN. Guys, you gotta be very careful as we're doing all of this so that we're not missing stuff. That's why I'll be a fan of collapsing all of this into one function and then just using an if else condition to set this exchange rate, because everything else will be the same. All right, now I'm kind of doing it in two different functions, which I don't think is a good idea. If I really wanted to make this more interesting, I'll pass that variable. I'll pass a variable called exchange rate, and then just put that within an if else condition and see if it's Nigeria set exchange rate to this, and then just do the calculation. But guys, we can always make this and do room for improvement. The goal here is just to give us the basic ideas of, all right, what is a function? It's just an encapsulation of logic, and then you can call that function from anywhere. All right, I'll really be curious for those of you that want to take this and maybe make it more interesting. I believe that there's a lot of room to make this code really to be really nice. Just bear with me to get all set up. You know, when we write code, I really like to make sure that we look amazing. So for those of you that are wondering, this is from Cameroon, which I really enjoy. So, all right, so let's continue with that. So we have that, we've called our function, and the function is going to do our calculation and print that to the screen. Let's take this line out. We don't need that anymore. All right, just to recap, we print welcome to the user. We ask for the source and target currency for them, and then based on the condition of the source currency, if it's based on the condition of the target currency, if it's XAF, we call the XAF function. If it's NGN, we call the NGN function. All right. If it doesn't match anything that we have in our system, we print sorry to the user and say currency currently not supported. Check back later. All right. So just a very, very basic function, and then we can see what those functions do. So let's give this a try. Hopefully it runs with no issues. All right. So there you have it. Welcome to the World Currency Converter. We are here to help you send money, e.g. UXD, XAF, and NGN. Source currency, let's say USD. Target currency, we say XAF. All right, how much do you want to send? Let's say $200. Voila, $200 is this in XAF. All right, that's it. We got the code working. Let's try this for Naira. Source currency, USD, target currency, NGN. All right, how much you want to send? $200. There you go. It's 72,500 in Nigerian Nairas. And so the Python program is here being able to tell us all of that. And so guys, there you have it. Like I mentioned, there's definitely room to improve this, to make it more fancy. I have a lot of ideas that if I really spend some time, I can really make this more interesting. But I'm sure you guys can do it. All right, because right here we've hand coded a lot of things. How can we make it? We're calling this a world currency converter. How can we make it so that I can say send from, let me actually run it and show you. Let's say I can say send from NGN to USD, right? Guess what happens if I do this right now? It says sorry, currency currently not supported, check back later, because it's hitting this else condition here. None of these two has met, so it's not actually going up to call any of our functions, so it's hitting the else condition, and that's what we're having. All right guys, so there you have it, one of our first live programming sessions. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. The code for this will be in Git. I'm gonna push this into Git so you guys can clone my repository and have it. This has been through. I'm very happy to have you guys join us. Consider subscribing if you haven't. If you have any programming question or challenge of your own, feel free to let me know, and I'll be more than happy to make a video about it. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.